فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا نُودِيَ مِن شَاطِئِ الْوَادِ الْأَيْمَنِ فِي الْبُقْعَةِ الْمُبَارَكَةِ مِنَ الشَّجَرَةِ أَن يَا مُوسَى إِنِّي أَنَا اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ.
But when he came to the fire, a cry was heard from the right bank of the valley, from a tree in the hallowed ground. O Moses, verily I am Allah, the Lord of all creatures of the universe.
43. That is, on that side of the valley which lay to the right of the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. 44. These two miracles were shown to the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, at that time so that, firstly, he himself is fully convinced that the same being who is speaking to him is, in fact, the creator and master and ruler of the whole system of the universe, and secondly, he should have full satisfaction that he was not going unarmed before Pharaoh, to perform the dangerous mission assigned to him, but would go well armed with the two powerful weapons.
A cry was heard from the right bank of the valley, the side of the valley which was to Moses' right hand, peace be upon him.
وَأَنْ أَلْقِ عَصَاكَ فَلَمَّا رَآهَا تَهْتَزُّ كَأَنَّهَا جَانٌّ وَلَّى مُدْبِرًا وَلَمْ يُعَقِّبْ يَا مُوسَى أَقْبِلْ وَلَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ مِنَ الْآمِنِينَ.
He received the command, throw away your rod. But when he saw the rod writhing as though it were a serpent, he turned back in retreat, and did not even look behind. He was told, O Moses, peace be upon him, go ahead and have no fear. You are perfectly secure.
أسلك يدك في جيبك تخرج بيضاء من غير سوء واضمم إليك جناحك من الرهب فذلك برهانان من ربك إلى فرعون وملئه إنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين.
Put your hand into your bosom, and it will come out shining without any blemish. And draw your hand close to your body, to still your fear. Those are the two clear signs from your Lord for Pharaoh and his chiefs, for truly they are a disobedient people.
44. These two miracles were shown to the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, at that time so that, firstly, he himself is fully convinced that the same being who is speaking to him is, in fact, the creator and master and ruler of the whole system of the universe, and secondly, he should have full satisfaction that he was not going unarmed before Pharaoh, to perform the dangerous mission assigned to him, but would go well armed with the two powerful weapons. 45. That is, whenever you experience the fear of any danger, fold back your arm to yourself. This will strengthen your heart and will deliver you completely from every feeling of fear and dread. The arm probably implies the right arm. The arm can be folded back in two ways, either by bringing the arm and pressing it against the side, or by pressing one hand under the armpit of the other. Probably the first way was implied, for in that case the other person cannot perceive that one is specially doing so in order to ward off fear. The Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, was taught this device because he was being sent to counter a tyrannical government without any army and worldly equipment. He was going to meet with many a dreadful situation when a great prophet could not also remain safe from fear and terror. Allah said to him, whenever you face such a situation, just do this, and Pharaoh will not be able to shake your heart in spite of all the power of his mighty kingdom. 46. The words by themselves imply, go to Pharaoh with these signs and present yourself as Allah's messenger, and invite him and his chiefs to the obedience and worship of Allah, Lord of the worlds. That is why his appointment has not been specified here, though at other places it has been clearly stated, thus, go to Pharaoh for he has become rebellious, Surah Taha, Ayat 24. And, when your Lord called Moses, saying, go forth to the wicked people, the people of Pharaoh. Surah Ash-Shura, Ayat 10.
and draw your hand close to your body to still your fear. If Moses was ever confronted with a truly dangerous situation, all he had to do was to fold back his arm into himself. This would strengthen his heart and release him from fear.
قال رب إني قتلت منهم نفسا فأخاف أن يقتلون.
Moses, peace be upon him, said, My Lord, I have killed one person from among them, and I fear that they will kill me.
وأخي هارون هو أفصح مني لسانا فأرسله معي يرد أن يصدقني إني أخاف أن يكذبون.
My brother Aaron, peace be upon him, is more eloquent in speech than I, so send him with me as a helper to confirm my truthfulness, for I fear that they will reject me as a liar.
قال سنشد عضدك بأخيك ونجعل لكما سلطانا فلا يصلون إليكما بآياتنا أنتما ومن اتبعكما الغالبون.
He said, We will certainly strengthen you through your brother, and will invest both of you with such power that they shall not be able to hurt you. With the help of our signs, the two of you and your followers will prevail.
47. It did not mean that he was hesitant to go there because of the fear, but it meant this: kindly make some such arrangement that I am not apprehended on the charge of murder just on arrival, even before I may convey to them your message, for in that case the very object for which I am being sent will be defeated. The next verse makes it plain that the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, by this submission, did not at all mean to reject the office of prophethood and refuse to go before Pharaoh because of the fear. 48. This meeting of the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, with Allah and the mutual conversation has been described in much greater detail in Surah Taha ayats 9 to 48. Anyone who compares this Quranic version with the story given in the Bible will himself be able to judge which of the two is a divine revelation and which one is the result of human storytelling. Besides, he will also be able to judge whether the Quranic version is, God forbid, a plagiarism of the Bible and Israelite traditions, or that God himself is describing the actual event, who had honored Moses, peace be upon him, by calling him up into his presence. See A. N.19 of Surah Taha.
فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُم مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ قالوا ما هذا إلا سحر مفترى وما سمعنا بهذا في آبائنا الأولين.
But when Moses, peace be upon him, came to them with our clear signs, they said, This is nothing but a magic that has been contrived. We never heard anything like it from our ancestors of yore.
49. The words of the text mean, fabricated or forged magic. If fabrication is taken to mean falsehood, it would mean, the staff's turning into a serpent and the shining of the hand is not any real change in the nature of the thing itself, but a mere illusion, which this man calls a miracle in order to deceive us. And if it is taken to mean a forgery, it will imply this person has forged something which appears to be a staff, but when it is thrown on the ground, it moves like a snake. As for the hand, he has rubbed something on it so that when he draws it out of the armpit, it shines. He himself works these magical tricks but tries to make us believe that these are miracles which God has granted him. 50. The references to the teachings which the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, had presented while conveying this message of Tawheed. The details have been given at other places in the Quran. For example, according to Surah An-Nazi'at, ayats 18 to 19, he said to Pharaoh, Will you mind to purify yourself, that I may guide you to your Lord so that you may have fear of him? And in Surah Taha, ayats 47 to 48, we have come to you with signs from your Lord. Peace is for him who follows the right way. We have been informed by revelation that there is punishment for him who rejects it and turn away, and we are messengers from your Lord, so let the Israelites go with us. It was about these things that Pharaoh said, even our forefathers had never heard that there was a being more powerful than Pharaoh of Egypt, who was authorized to command him, to punish him, to send a man to his court to convey his instructions to him, and to warn the king of Egypt to fear him. These are strange things which we are hearing today from a man like you.
وقال موسى ربي أعلم بمن جاء بالهدى من عنده ومن تكون له عاقبة الدار إنه لا يفلح الظالمون.
Moses, peace be upon him, replied, My Lord knows best who comes with guidance from him, and also whose end will be the best in the hereafter. As for the wrongdoers, they shall not prosper.
51. That is, you think I am a magician and a forger, but my Lord is well aware of me. He knows what sort of a man is the person whom he has appointed as a messenger, and the final judgment rests with him. If I am a liar, I shall meet an evil end, and if you are a liar, you should know that your end will not be good. In any case, the inevitable fact is that the unjust will not attain true success. He, who is not Allah's messenger but falsely presents himself as a messenger for selfish motives, is also unjust and will not attain success. And the one who rejects a true messenger by false accusations and suppresses the truth by deceit and fraud, is also unjust and will never attain success.
وقال فرعون يا أيها الملأ ما علمت لكم من إله غيري فأوقد لي يا هامان على الطين فاجعل لي صرحا لعلي أطلع إلى إله موسى وإني لأظنه من الكاذبين.
Pharaoh said, O nobles, I do not know that you have any god beside myself. Haman, bake bricks out of clay and build a lofty palace for me, so that I may mount up and be able to observe the God of Moses, peace be upon him, even though I believe that Moses, peace be upon him, is a liar.
52. By this Pharaoh did not, and could not, mean that he was the creator of his people and the earth and the heavens, for such a thing be uttered only by a madman. Likewise, he also did not mean that they had no other deity besides him, for the Egyptians worshipped many gods, and the Pharaoh himself had been made the incarnation of the sun god. The Quran testifies that the Pharaoh himself worshipped many gods. The chiefs of Pharaoh's people said, Will you leave Moses and his followers free to spread disorder in the land, and to discard you and your deities? Surah Al-Araf, Ayat 127. Therefore, inevitably, the Pharaoh had not used the word God here for himself as a creator and deity, but as an absolute and supreme sovereign. What he meant was this: I am the owner of this land of Egypt. I alone will rule here. My law will be the law of the land. I alone shall be accepted as the fountainhead of all commands and prohibitions here. None else is entitled to give commands in this country. Who is this Moses, who has appeared as the delegate of the Lord of the universe and is conveying orders to me as though he is the ruler and I am his subordinate? That is why he addressed his courtiers, thus, O people, is not the kingdom of Egypt mine? And are not these canals flowing beneath me? Surah Az-Zukhruf, Ayat 51. And that is why he said to Moses, peace be upon him, again and again, have you come to turn us away from the faith of our forefathers so that you too may dominate over the land? Surah Yunus, Ayat 78. O Moses, have you come to drive us out of our land by the power of your sorcery? Surah Taha, Ayat 57. I fear he will change your religion, or cause mischief to appear in the land. Surah Al-Mu'min, Ayat 26. If the matter is considered from this angle, it will become evident that the position of Pharaoh was no different from the position of those states which claim political and legal sovereignty independent of divine law brought by the prophets. Whether they accept a king as the fountainhead of law and commands and prohibitions, or the will of the nation. In any case, as long as they stick to the position that the country will be ruled by their law and not by the law of Allah and His messengers, there will be no fundamental difference between their position and that of Pharaoh. It is, however, a different thing that the ignorant people curse Pharaoh but approve these as lawful. A person who understands reality will look for the spirit and sense and not merely for words and terminology. Pharaoh had used the word God for himself, but these states use the term sovereignty in the same sense. See, En. 21 Surah Taha. 53. This was the same kind of mentality as the communists of today are displaying. They launch rockets and tell the world that they have not found God anywhere above. Pharaoh wanted to see God from the top of a tower. This shows that the extent of the imagination of the straying people during the past 3,500 years has remained where it was. They have not advanced even an inch. It is not known who has told them that the being, whom the God worshippers acknowledge as the Lord of the universe, resided somewhere above according to their belief. And if they do not see him a few thousand feet or a few thousand miles above the earth's surface in this limitless universe, it will be a proof that he exists nowhere. The Quran does not specify whether Pharaoh actually got such a tower built and tried to see God from the top of it, but it only relates what he said. Apparently, he did not commit the folly. He only meant to befool the people. This also is not clear whether Pharaoh was, in fact, a disbeliever in the being of the Lord of the universe, or talked atheism only due to stubbornness. In this regard, his sayings point to the same mental confusion which one finds in the statements of the communists. Sometimes he wanted to climb into the sky and come back to tell the world that he had nowhere seen the God of Moses, peace be upon him, yet another time he would say, why were not bracelets of gold sent down on him or a company of angels as attendants? Surah Az-Zukhruf, Ayat 53. We are of the opinion that after the passage of the period of the Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, and his successors, when Egypt was dominated by the Coptic nationalism, and a political revolution took place in the country owing to the racial and nationalistic prejudice. The new leaders, in their nationalistic enthusiasm, also revolted against the God towards whom the Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, and his followers, the Israelites and the Egyptian Muslims, had been calling the people. They thought that if they believed in God, they would never be able to shed the influence and impact of the civilization brought about by the Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him. For if that civilization remained, they would never be able to consolidate their political influence. For them, belief in God and Muslim sovereignty were inseparable and interdependent. Therefore, to get rid of the one, it was necessary to reject the other, although they could not root out belief in one God from the depths of their hearts.
واستكبر هو وجنوده في الأرض بغير الحق وظنوا أنهم إلينا لا يرجعون.
And he and his hosts waxed arrogant in the land without any right, believing that they will never have to return to us.
54. That is, Allah, Lord of the worlds, alone is entitled to the right to greatness, but Pharaoh and his hosts assumed greatness when they attained a little power in a small territory on the earth. 55. That is, they thought they were answerable to none, and with this assumption they started behaving absolutely independently in their day-to-day life.
فأخذناه وجنوده فنبذناهم في اليم فانظر كيف كان عاقبة الظالمين.
Eventually, we seized him and his hosts, and we flung them into the sea. So do see the end of the wrongdoers.
56. Allah in these words has depicted their worthlessness and insignificance as against their false pride. They thought they were big people, but when the respite Allah had granted them to reform came to an end, they were thrown into the sea like rubbish.
وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَدْعُونَ إِلَى النَّارِ وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ لَا يُنصَرُونَ.
And we made them leaders who invite people to the fire. On the day of judgment, they shall not find help from any quarter.
57. That is, they have set a precedent for the later generations as to committing injustices, rejecting the truth and persistence in their rejection till the last, and using all sorts of devices to defend falsehood against the truth. They showed these ways to the people and have gone to hell, and now their descendants are following in their footsteps and rushing towards the same doom.
وَأَتْبَعْنَاهُمْ فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا لَعْنَةً وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ هُمْ مِنَ الْمَقْبُوحِينَ.
We have made a curse to pursue them in this world, and on the day of judgment they shall be among the despised.
58. The words in the text mean, on the day of resurrection they will be among the Maqbuhin, which has several meanings: sad face, L. They will stand rejected and repulsed. 2. They will be wholly deprived of Allah's mercy. And 3. They will be severely beaten up and their faces will become distorted.